DeShaun Tate back with you guys. Tate's Take, the podcast. You know what it is, where basketball lives each and every single Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Saturday. So appreciate everybody for checking in and chiming in with me. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube at Tate's Take Sports. And again, make sure you're following along on social media at Tate's Take Hoops, TATESTAKEHOOPS. Of course, as you know, that's where basketball lives. Now, I know a lot of my peoples are really excited and was really looking forward to me coming on and talking about the whole Imani Bates saga. We are going to get to that, but not before we keep it in the Big Ten, where I have the opportunity and the pleasure and the honor to sit down with a group of gentlemen who currently play for Penn State, their men's basketball team. So if you out there in Big Ten country, you love the Nittany Lions, hate the Nittany Lions, support the Nittany Lions, whatever the case may be, I appreciate you guys just for checking in anyways, because we got two very, very, very intelligent gentlemen that is coming on with us right about now. So let me make sure that I bring these guys in the proper way, the way that we do things. I do have here Myreon Jones and John Harrar. Make sure I'm saying that correctly, because I don't like butchering no names, but we're going to keep it funky right here on the podcast. Man, how you brothers doing, man? How you feeling? I know everybody's kind of been like in their quarantine mode and everything like that. So life seems a little bit different, and it seems that we're rocking with a new norm right about now. But outside of that, how you guys feeling on the evening?
Yeah, we're living. We're up. We're back up at school, and we're able to work out 2 times a day. So, man, that has just been such a blessing to get back with MJ and the rest of my teammates. Man, having a lot of fun doing that. Just trying to follow protocol, but at the same time, make it seem like we're back to normal. And man, summer is when you get better. Summer is really when you take your game to the next level. So we're trying to do that best we can right now.
Yeah, like John
Mari, how you
said.
feeling, big dog?
Yeah, like John said. I'm feeling good. Happy to be back on campus with the guys. Working our way back to being our normal lifestyle back, but it's a process. But it's fun being back though.
All right, so the guys have been, clearly in the gym and working out a little bit and getting things, kind of put together, getting prepared for the season and whatnot. And let me say this first, because I'm full disclaimer, I'm that dude. We don't hold no punches. We keep it real right here on this show, and that's just what we do. Penn State super surprised me this year. I won't lie to you. I know they probably surprised a lot of people. I know you got to a point where you started out the season really good, and that was consistent, that was persistent. The job that you guys have done, obviously with Lamar and a couple of the other guys. And then in addition to that, the outstanding job that head coach and Pat Chambers did this year, I just think was really phenomenal. I mean, we got to a point, I don't know how much you guys was really reading into this stuff. We got to a point where guys like Seth Greenberg from ESPN and different people was talking about this could be a potential Final Four team. That's something that I didn't necessarily see, although I knew Penn State, obviously, I've probably watched more college basketball than anybody under the sun. But just really based off the year before last, where I think you swept Ohio State, if I'm not mistaken. But I know that was put in position for some really good things to come. So it was a little bit of a surprise to me. Maybe not as surprised as everybody else. Got up to what I think ranked in the top 10, number 9 in the country earlier this year. So I definitely want to take my hat off. Glad I got a haircut now. I'm a bald dude, but I definitely want to take my cap off to you guys, man, and what a phenomenal season that you guys have had, leading up to the point where we obviously didn't have a season anymore. So outside of that, I really appreciate you guys for checking in, and just something that we typically always do on the regular anyways. We always let our friends, family, everybody, let them know that they can feel free to chime in with comments and questions, if you will. If they have any for you guys. So let me kick it off with this first, because I really want the people to kind of get to know you guys a little bit in regards to, and this is a question for the both of you. Now, first, let me get Myreon. Tell me a little bit about, where you grew up and what that was like, how you grew up, because I know you're from Birmingham. that's not like down the street and around the corner
Yeah.
from Happy Valley. So talk to me a little bit about what that was like, and then just transitioning to being up in the Midwest.
Um, yeah, I'm from Birmingham. Lived up my whole life until I came to college. Yeah, it's a bit different from being in Birmingham to Happy Valley. Um, you know, Birmingham's not the best place, but it's a big family. That's how I think about it. It's a big family, but I mean, we all just look out for each other. That's what it's more about.
And that's what's important. Now for you, John, you grew up in Pennsylvania, so that's really just in the backyard of where you're from. Do you ever feel any type of pressure in a sense to kind of with you being from there, from that state and going to Penn State? Just talk to me a little bit about in regards to you know what that was like. Maybe you didn't face any pressure or challenges necessarily, but to just kind of hold it down for the home team in the home state of where you from.
Right. Yeah, so I always tell this story that I had a big friend group back home. We had about like 10 guys in there, and they all applied to Penn State. Their goal was to go to Penn State, like, because man, that's where it's at back home. Like, you want to go to state college, you want to go to the football games, you want to have fun, and none of them got in. I was the only one because I was trying to go the athletic route. I was the only one that didn't want to go to Penn State. I just want to go play college basketball, and I ended up going there, and they're like, nah. You're not even gonna live the Penn State lifestyle up there. But now it's funny. I have so much support back home. Coach Chambers and I are actually from the same county, so we know the same people, and they support us. I went to go play 9 holes about 10 minutes away from me golfing, and the golf pro probably sat me down and gave me a 20-minute lecture about Coach Chambers. He was trying to tell me how he grew up, what his family was like. So. Man, it's awesome being from Delaware County and going to Penn State because the amount of support you have is awesome. And speaking about the pressure is on all those Philly kids. We have so many Philly kids on our program, and they have all the pressure because they're the ones that, were the top recruits. They were the top dogs, and they decided to, take the chance with Coach Chambers and Penn State, and that ended up working out. So, I mean, I'm glad to be a part of this program, though, for sure.
Myreon, let me ask you this, man. You obviously talked about you being from Birmingham. What were some of your expectations when you were entering Big Ten basketball? What did you know about it already? What were you hearing from other people? Obviously, it's a very physical style and brand of basketball that they play within the conference. Was that everything that you expected and more, or was it hyped up a little bit more than you experienced?
Well, at first I had committed to Memphis, and so I had no idea anything. I had no idea about the Big Ten. I didn't think about Michigan State, Penn State, Rutgers. I didn't think of none of them. But once I got here on my visit, Coach sat me down and showed me stuff about the Big Ten, and so I kind of got an idea about it. And so once I got here and played, I knew I was kind of ready, but I wasn't 100% ready. But yeah, I knew how physical and tough the Big Ten was.
No, you guys have, and we're going to jump in and out of basketball here a little bit, but I really want the people to really, really get a little bit more of an insight about exactly who you guys are as people in addition to on the court. Now, you guys got a podcast. Obviously, I'm running my podcast. I love it. There's some really good energy, not just me, but what I would imagine what you guys got going on. I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more. Uh, um, with when I have the opportunity to listen to it, which will be tonight. But talk to me about what you guys have going on. Promote your podcast. Feel free, and kind of what you guys base your podcast off of.
Yeah, so MJ we had a meeting with Coach and MJI. It's called the Leadership Council. We were coming up with ideas to stay connected during this whole quarantine. MJ just said, man, I'm gonna make a podcast. MJ, what podcast did you say you used to listen to before this?
It was the Knuckleheads with Quinn Richardson and what's his name? I forgot. But Knucklehead. That's why I
Darius
listened to.
Miles. Is it Darius
Yeah,
Miles?
Yeah, Darius
Okay.
Miles. That's what I
Yeah.
listen to.
And I used to listen to a bunch of podcasts myself. None of them were basketball. It was more like the personal development type stuff, and some Joe Rogan here and there. But I know not a lot of people like him. But so and then I've been familiar with like computer software. At my school, they actually taught Photoshop and all the Adobe features. So I was like, man, I know how to make one, so I can make one. So I just sent MJ a picture of the logo, like the Midnight Domino show. He didn't tell me what to name it. He didn't tell me like what sound he wanted on it or anything. I just sent him it and I said, "You ready?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." So we made the first episode, and we kind of base it around like Penn State, really, like just this family, man. I love this family. I love everything we got going on here. Yesterday or 2 days ago, we did a girls basketball player from Penn State. We're looking to do football players, man. Anyone that has is connected to Penn State, anyone that's connected, there's so much history. Not a lot of people think of the Penn State basketball history, but you got like Tony Carr, everyone. There's a lot of history. DJ Newbill, all those dudes. So we would love to have them on here and hear their take on whether it's Coach Chambers or just this program in general.
That's right, Tony Carr. That was, I think, from the year before last. Tony Carr was real. Tony Carr can get down. So Tony Carr can get down. That's for sure. They've been doing a really good job in terms of just recruiting and all that good stuff going on around Penn State. Plus, I like to think it's a pretty good slogan with the "We Are Penn State" too. Myreon, let me ask you this, as we like to let everybody know, inside the locker room right now, we got Myreon Jones and John Harrar. Always got to say that part real slow so I don't butcher it. From Penn State men's basketball team, guard and forward. Now, Myreon, according to my resources, okay, you got a super stupid, dumb collection of J's. You're like the sneakerhead. You're this shoe dude. I'm from Michigan, so we call them gym shoes, but it's all still in the same. Pun intended, MJ. Where did that come from? Do you have a favorite pair of J's, and how many do you have?
No, I can't have a favorite. It's like choosing a favorite child. You can't do that. But yeah, I think I got it from like just being around my uncle when I was younger. He used to collect Jordans and all types of shoes. So I feel like once I got older, I wanted to buy shoes, and then I started looking up how I can get shoes, different types of ways and stuff. But yeah, I don't really have a favorite for real.
Are you wearing a pair right now?
Nah, I don't have none on right now.
Okay.
Most of my shoes are at home right now.
Oh, okay. I got you. I just had to check the temperature on that. What would you say, Myreon? First of all, let me ask you this: did you watch the Michael Jordan documentary? Like, is this just a shoe thing, or are you like an actual fan of Michael Jordan?
It's a shoe thing, but like I really look up to Michael Jordan. Like the documentary was awesome. I didn't get to watch him back then. I used to hear stories and stuff. So just to see that side of him and how he played, it was awesome. But the shoes are totally different. It had nothing to do with him.
Because see, what that did for me, man, it was just like very inspirational and very motivational. And I know for a lot of guys, I mean, I'm not that old. I'm only 30. I'll be 36 in a little bit more than a month. But that's my goal. And I know for the next generation, whether it be millennials or Generation X or whatever the cool kids is calling it these days, like, everybody's like, Kobe is their GOAT. Like, is Kobe you guys' GOAT, or is it MJ? Like, who's the greatest of all time to John and then to Mario?
I'm going with LeBron. I always see the game as more than basketball, and LeBron he does everything right in my eyes. I know if I was 20 years older, I'd go with MJ too, probably. But right now, I'm going with LeBron, just the standard that he sets as a human being, and of course, everything he's done on the basketball court.
Myreon, who you got?
I would say Mike, but I didn't watch him play, so I would say Kobe since the closest thing to him.
I got you. I just always thought that it was funny the way that, like, people be like, oh, somebody else is the great, you know, it's not Michael Jordan, and you look down and they always wearing J's. I just never but it might be a swag thing. I think it might be or I don't know if people say swag anymore. It's drip. I guess drip is the new thing to all the cool kids, but you know, and the name of you guys' podcast being is it Midnight Domino?
Yeah.
Where did that name come from?
So my freshman year, we were on campus. It was only the basketball team, and it was during Christmas break. And we just left practice and had nothing else to do. And so I went on YouTube. I was watching this video about Post Malone for some reason, and he was talking about how he got his his nickname, where he got his name from. And he was like from this website. So I was like, why not? I should just do it. So I did it, put my name in, came up Midnight Domino. And my roommate was like, yeah, that's it right there. And so ever since then, we go to practice. Everybody calls me that now. So that's where that came from.
Now, John, you took a little bit, I guess, somewhat of a different road in a sense to being on the team for Penn State. Like, I don't know which one was your first love, but I hear that you were quite the dynamic football player as well. Break that down to how exactly did that work, and why did you choose basketball over football?
I never really played football until my junior year of high school. It was kind of just a thing, like, you're a big dude. I loved getting in the weight room, and I had a bunch of mentors that really got me into football. So they were like, man, you got to take this up. And I started playing tight end and DN, and my coach sent out film, and then from there I just went to camp after camp after camp. I went to one at Penn State. I went to one Temple, all these camps, and then I think my name got out there, and it kind of just seemed like football was the option because that's who was talking to me the most. I took visits to Ryder for basketball and talked to a bunch of other schools, but it seemed like my future was in football until about my senior year, with like a month left in my senior season. My AU coach was like, John, you're still 17 years old. Come play with us on the circuit one time. And I did it, and then I started getting attention. And my coach, as I said, he's from my area. One of his friends brought me up to school, and after that, coach offered me a scholarship, and I was like, right away, I was just like, I got to take up on it. Big Ten basketball. I knew right away Big Ten basketball, the Michigan States, the Ohio States, the Wisconsin. Why not start making it at Penn State? I wanted to be a part of that. I saw Lamar. I saw Tone, I saw Big Mike, I saw all these people coming through this program, and I had faith in Coach Chambers since the first day I met him.
I think that's super dope, man, for multiple reasons, but probably one of the biggest reasons is because, like, even though I'm currently in Michigan right now and have been for a little over a week or so, I live in the South. So I live in Atlanta, and all you hear about is football country this, football over basketball, and so on and so forth. And so I'm always trying to school people on basketball being the way to go. So I appreciate you guys giving me a little bit of help, especially you, John, who chose basketball over football. So that lets the people know that there still is quite a few people who do still have that basketball road that they rather take over the football road. Because I try to school people all the time and tell them that March Madness is the biggest thing that there is. Whether you're playing in NIT, whether you're playing the NCAA tournament, conference tournaments, March roll around, all that stuff, there's not a better feeling than that than, you know, when you have, you know, the bands is playing. I respect all that other stuff in regards to, you know, bowl season and all that, and that's cool and that's cute. But ain't nothing touching 94 feet long, 50 feet wide, 22 feet by 1 1/4 inches out on the perimeter. And if that rim is 10 feet tall, brother, we can get down. You know what I'm saying? We get down like that. Got Myreon Jones and John Harrar on here with us, Tate's Take, DeShaun Tate, where basketball lives. I'm not going to hold you guys too much longer, but definitely want to get through a little bit more of this because I just have a few more questions in regards to your love for basketball. And this is particularly for for you, John, in regards to your love for basketball. Like when did that start? Because obviously you played, football too. When did your passion, I guess, you kind of learn that it would override football a little bit?
Yeah. So my mom and my dad, they're 6'9" and 6 foot. They were tall, so I kind of got thrown in when I was 3 years old. They knew I was going to be tall, so they tried starting me playing, and I would play it, man, all my life. I can remember we always had a basketball court in my driveway, and it was just like it was one. I mean, if I could put it down to one moment, it was my high school basketball coach and we sat down. I think at dinner one time, and he was just like, I said to him, I was like, man, I can't play football. Like, I love basketball way too much. I cannot play football. And I think that dinner, that moment, that's when I kind of just went all in with basketball and tried getting that Penn State scholarship that I wanted to get. But no, I mean, I love basketball. Like you were saying, man, you can be so creative with it. I'm a big man, and I can still, you know what I'm saying? I can dribble the ball between my legs if I want to. In football, you're left shoulder block, driving for 5 yards, take a break. If you don't do your job, and basketball, you can be creative. I mean, I leave that up to MJ because he's my point guard, but I can still have some fun here and there.
I think that that's such an awesome blessing that you've been blessed with that kind of height, bro. Because let me tell you something, I don't have that. Now I'm a defender. I ain't the greatest offensive player. I know my role. I know this game much better than I play it. I'm not a bad player, but I'm a defensive dude because I grew up in Big Ten country. I watched a lot of time Izzo and Michigan State and all that type of stuff. So that's just where I'm born and bred from. But man, you're so super lucky, John, dude, to have that height, man. Because dude, when I was like 16, I'm sure you guys probably haven't heard these measurements since you were probably in elementary school. But like, dude, when I was 16, I got my driver's license. I remember it said 5'1". There's no misprint. 5'1", and I wore a size 6.5 shoe. Like that alone, I know John's probably like, I don't even remember the last time that I, wore a size 6.5 shoe, probably like 6 years old or something like that. Let me ask you this, Myreon. You're coming back to this team as the returning leading scorer for this particular team. What are some of the things that you want to implement or that you want the people to know in regards to what we can see from this team, down the line in the future, and what things that are there that you would like to accomplish with this team before you depart?
I think we're gonna be like a grit and grind team. We're a defense first team, so I feel like anytime somebody's gonna play us, they're gonna have a hard time scoring. It's gonna be a low scoring game, but I'm pretty sure people are down us again this year, and I just want to prove people wrong. But I mean, we don't have to talk about it. We could just show them.
Letting the action speak, bro. And you know what? I learned my lesson. I'm not going to be one of those that doubted Penn State. You know what I'm saying? Again, like I said, I'm not going to say I was on the bandwagon, but it didn't surprise me as much as it surprised other people. Because I've been watching Penn State for a long time, going all the way back to Ed DeChillis and just a lot of different guys. Now, this is a two-part question for both of you guys. And I have a couple two-part questions before we start getting into our quick release segment. How do you describe, first John and then Myreon, how do you describe the Pitt rivalry? In as many words as you like, or as many small words, or just one word answer if you want, whatever the case is, how do you describe that rivalry?
When you walk around campus, you see a word a lot that rhymes with Pitt, and it starts with SH. You see that you see that everywhere, but I think it's more of a football thing for sure. Our freshman year, we played Pitt. I know Pitt has been through coaches and a bunch of staff changes, but we played Pitt, and it was actually my freshman year. I was the fourth string big, so if I seen minutes, it means that something was happening. We were up 40 or something like that, and I got in. It was my first probably my second game I played was against Pitt in NYC, and we just blew them out, man. I think Penn State plays really good in New York City. Whether that's because of our alumni that show out during that game, or there's something about the air there, but we play good. And I can just remember playing Pitt and just laying the hammer down on them. But no, it's fun seeing all the SH Pitt that fun stuff. People like talking crap.
No, I like that, man. I think that's super dope. And speaking of the New York City, I know that you had some opportunities to be a part of a magnificent run that the team had in 2018 to go on and win the NIT. So I think that was really dope also. Myreon, how do you describe the relationship with Pitt? Do you know any of those guys on that team or got a relationship with those guys? I can only imagine that John does, being from there. But how do you describe the relationship and or the rivalry with Pitt?
Well, I have nothing against them because I haven't went against them or anything. But I hear people around locker room, outside the locker room, and I mean it's just fun hearing people talk bad about Pitt, and then like sometimes you'll go somewhere, you'll see a Pitt fan, they see our our clothes with Penn State on it, and they'll be the first one to say something, and then we just go back and forth like that. But it's just fun to experience it though.
I have a question.
No doubt.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
What is Michigan State? What's their rival? Who do they not like in the Big Ten besides Michigan? Like who is that? Who is their next team that they don't like?
I'm not really sure that there is one specific.
There's not.
No, I mean, not really. I think Wisconsin is certainly up there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's really like a direct rival. I think it's more so because there was a point where Wisconsin had Michigan State's number for such a long time.
Right.
And then, after Michigan State had their number for such a long time, and then you got some woofing back and forth, and then it kind of turned into a rivalry. But I don't think it was like a traditional rivalry, but certainly Michigan, right, I would probably say, and that's coming from Michigan State, dude. I'm not really sure if you still want to call that a rivalry or not. if you know where I'm going with that. But I'm not here to be biased, but that's a whole nother but that was a good question. Let me ask you this. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, because this is from my 3 years of being in the Big Ten. You know Big Ten way more than I do. But this is what I understand from it right now. Rutgers hates Penn State. Penn State has nothing to do with Rutgers. Penn State hates Ohio State. Ohio State has nothing to do with Penn State. Ohio State hates Michigan. Am I wrong with that?
No. You're right. And then Michigan, it's funny the way that works out. You know what I'm saying? Because Rutgers has their way of feeling towards, of course, I know Seton Hall is in there, but that's not Big Ten. But, like you said, not liking Penn State. Penn State doesn't really consider that nearly as much as a rivalry. But then there's one with Ohio State, but Ohio State doesn't consider that much of a rivalry.
Yeah.
But Michigan considers that a rivalry, which I think Ohio State does. But Michigan doesn't consider Michigan State much of a rival, although Michigan State does. So it's weird the way that all of that stuff has kind of worked out. It's really, really strange. My last question before we get into the quick release stuff, for Myreon, in regards to some of the stuff we're seeing right now going on in the world between racial injustice and social injustice and that whole movement, talk about the importance of that, or just maybe even some of your views, if you want to even touch on any of that. If you're not comfortable, I'm perfectly fine with that. But I'd certainly like to hear from the both of you in regards to how that has affected you guys personally, or maybe on a family level, or just how you guys have come together. Because obviously one of you guys are black and the other one's not, and you still being able to hold that cohesiveness between each other and still be able to, be friends and be, and be teammates. How has that kind of affected you guys' lives on a personal level first, Myreon?
Well, it has affected me a lot, but I feel like when people are educated and they don't speak before they know what they're talking about, then it makes it better. But you know, just people saying the wrong thing and just not knowing the consequences of what could happen, then you have stuff like we're going through now. But I feel like once people are like educated and like you can sit down and talk to people about this. Like I know me and John have conversations about this all the time. But yeah, once people like sit down and just get educated and ask questions, I feel like everything will work itself out.
John.
Yeah. I don't know if you can tell the dynamic between MJ and I, but MJ is a real chill dude, and I can talk your ear off. Like I'm the annoying one. But when it comes to this, I think I mean I'm just white people in general, man. We just gotta listen. We just gotta sit down. If you have a good heart, just listen. Stop trying to talk. Stop trying to, I know everyone's posting on social media, but really listen to the stories. On the podcast 2 days ago, Tanaya, the girl, recommended me a book. I went on Amazon and bought that book. I want to listen to the stories. I want to learn more because, as MJ and I both say, it's time for people to educate themselves.
And I think that obviously is something that's very important. And I've just always been the person to say, that this is something that has to obviously be taken serious. And someone asked me, what surprises you about any of this that's going on? And I'm like, to be honest with you, especially growing up how I did and where I come from, it's not surprising. But if I'm forced to give an answer as to what surprises me, the surprising thing is that it has surprised people that this is some of the stuff that is going on. I can only imagine that by you guys coming from different backgrounds, that you guys have, both of you, between the two of you, have experienced different things. And I just think that it's really, really super awesome that you guys can share and be as close as you are as teammates, and even put a podcast out together. Like, that's a huge deal. And to be able to develop and establish a chemistry between each other. And I just think that I just think that that's great. Again, that podcast, Midnight Domino, let the people know where to go and check that out, how to check that out, what they can expect from it. Maybe some guests that you guys have maybe had on in the past. What was some of your most funny or most fun segments?
Yeah, you can check it out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can look it up. And we're trying to get a YouTube out right now. It's in progress, but we'll see how it goes. We're getting a studio, and by studio, I mean my apartment desk, where MJ and I are going to set up some microphones and stuff like that to get the quality. But, man, we have so much fun. The best thing to me is when we end a podcast and our guests, they'll say to MJ, and it's been about like 5 or 6 people that have been like, wow, that was really fun. It's like they're going into it not really understanding what's going to happen. Like MJ and I are trying to lead the show, but they'll just sit back and like after we like close the show out, they'll be like, man, that was really fun. And like one dude was trying to start his own podcast, and just like to have that, it's a lot of fun, as they said. We've had so much fun with this. But MJ, I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I also think it's fun. Just getting stories. Like we hear a lot of stories of people that went to Penn State and like people like seniors that was here when I was a freshman, hearing their freshman stories. It's just fun to hear, and then you start other conversations and you see how you can relate to people more.
Midnight Domino. That's the one that you guys need to go and check out. And like I said, I hope I'm not overstepping boundaries or anything like that. But if you guys need any assistance or anything like that, I'm not the smartest dude in the world or the most technical, but I know a little bit, and I've been in the game for a little while. So in the event that you guys ever need anything, man, please don't hesitate.
That's awesome.
Feel free to reach out, because I would love to help you guys out with growing your podcast. I think it's awesome with even what John was saying, you guys having two totally different personalities. I think that that's probably something that makes it even that much more interesting, that much more fun, and that much more intriguing. We did have one person that popped in here for a quick second. Tom Corder says, if Chambers can get the kids from Philadelphia, Penn State could be a serious contender for years in the Big Ten. While I do appreciate Todd for coming in and dropping that nugget of information, I'm not sure if they necessarily have to have the guys from Philadelphia. I think you got a dude from Birmingham. And I think you got a dude from the Pennsylvania area who's going to put on, whether they do or don't have somebody from Philadelphia specifically. I feel comfortable saying that because I saw what they did earlier this year, and it was very impressive, to say the least. I can definitely attest to that and say that much. And now, in conclusion, so I can get ready to get you guys up out of here in a quick second, I want to throw this out there to you guys because I do have this one particular segment that I wanted to throw out there, and it's called Quick Release. So I'm going to ask you guys a list of questions that are just simple as can be. Sorry, one word answers if possible, and if it's a complicated choice or decision, if you will, on which way you want to roll with it, feel free, but just give your boy an answer, because I sat down, I did some brain pick. I want to do some brain picking, and I've really been kind of thinking about which questions I want to put together for you guys, and hopefully give people an opportunity to learn a little bit about Myreon Jones and John Harrar from Penn State. So without further ado, let's jump into it. We're gonna go John, and then we're gonna go Myreon and then John, Myreon and then John for each question. Okay?
Sounds good.
First let's go with Myreon. All right, Lil Baby or Da Baby?
Lil Baby.
Lil Baby. Why?
Yeah.
Just curious.
Everything he put out is good. And he from Atlanta, so that's like right next door to me. So
okay.
I claim the Atlanta rappers,
Okay. We getting somewhere. We learning something about Myreon. He opening up like a can of pig feet. John, Lil Baby or Da Baby?
Tim McGraw. No, I don't know. I'll go with Da Baby. I don't know.
Da Baby? Okay.
Yeah.
Myreon, the better scorer in the NBA, KD or James Harden?
KD.
Okay. John?
I'm going with KD.
Okay. If everyone comes back and returns in the NBA this year, and let's just automatically assume everybody's playing and everybody's healthy, who wins the NBA championship and why?
I'm gonna go with the Clippers just because I had them to win it at first.
Okay, John?
I'm going with the Lakers, my man Bron.
I had a feeling it was going to come to that. See, opposites attract, bro. Opposites attract. That's why you guys do such a good job together, man, and on the podcast. So my next question was going to be Clippers or Lakers in terms of just in general between the two LA teams, but I got a really good feeling we already know that answer. Myreon, what do you call it? Slides or flip-flops? Or do you call it something else?
Slides.
Slides. John?
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops. See? That's what I'm talking about.
That's because he doesn't wear socks with him. That's why.
Oh, see, that's one thing that I learned. That's one thing that I learned. I dated this girl one time. She never understood that. Why do you wear socks with your flip-flops? I don't know, but that's just the ball player. No disrespect to John, but that's just ball player swag where I come from.
Yeah.
You do the flip-flops with the socks, and people in the South are like, dude, what is wrong with you? Why do you wear? People have no idea as to why I wear socks with my flip-flops like I'm from another planet. So no disrespect to John, man, because sometimes with the socks, your feet get hot and sweaty, and that's never a good look. And I think I kind of asked this before. Myreon, LeBron or Kobe?
Kobe.
John?
LeBron.
See? There we go. You're not doing this on purpose, is you just completely going against me? Okay.
No. Integrity, man. Pillar.
All right, just two last questions. Myreon, iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Yeah,
John.
iPhone.
Okay. Finally got to agree on something.
Yeah.
Now this one right here might have you guys butting heads and ready to just pick up the sticks and get loose and get with it. And maybe put, you know what I'm saying, a chicken pot pie on the line in the dorm room, a little nice little friendly bet or something. Who's better in 2K? Myreon or John? Myreon, what's your answer?
Well,
Don't start saying he be cheating and all that.
Nah,
saying that the
I'm
computer
saying,
be
like,
cheating for him.
He doesn't play, so I will give him the benefit of the doubt.
Listen, give me 2 months and I'll beat him. But right now it's MJ.
No, I'm nice in everything.
Oh, you will? Okay.
I
and everything.
Yeah, I seen MJ play though. That man knows what he's doing. But if I could sub, I'll take my brother. My brother would whoop MJ's, but I'll take my brother. My brother got the whole mod player. Yo, MJ, my brother's mod player is way better. I'll send you a screenshot. He got the 99.
Myreon over there rolling his eyes like, bro, you can come over here and get this smoke if you want to. I did have one last question since that was one on 2K. This was my last one. Myreon, Xbox or PlayStation?
Ooh, Xbox. I've been rocking Xbox for a minute, but that new PlayStation, I don't know.
Oh, that 5.
I don't know. That 5 looking good.
John.
I've been PS4 since like 12 years old, 13 years old.
Got it. Man, dude, I super appreciate you guys for coming on with me. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had some fun too. Mm-hmm. The people that's out there watching, of course, this is Tate's Take with DeShaun Tate. Myreon Jones, guard and leading returning scorer for Penn State returning next year, and John Harrar as well for Penn State. The big man up front, the big man in the middle. It's going to be, you know what I'm saying, using the Windex this year, wiping them all off the glass, all kind of block shots. Man, I appreciate you guys for coming on with me. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, any of that type of stuff, feel free to reach out, man. But I'm really, really thankful and grateful that you guys had a chance to join me, man. And I'm looking forward to hearing the Midnight Domino podcast. So I'm going to have to dip into that and be looking forward to my follow on social media. So I really appreciate you guys for joining me.
Yeah, thanks, man. This is awesome.
I appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, no doubt. That is Myreon Jones, okay, and John Harrar that joined us on the pod. Very, very, very thankful, overly grateful and appreciative for them to be able to come on the pod today. I think we're going to have to push some of the Imani Bates stuff back until potentially Saturday, unless we hear something beforehand. But very thankful for these guys from Penn State to be joining us, and I'm looking forward to some more guests. You never know who we're gonna have coming up on the pod, so make sure that you keep it locked with your eyes and your ears wide open. Right here at Tate's Take. Remember that you can follow along on social media at Tate's Take Hoops, TATESTAKEHOOPS. Of course. Unless you've been living under a rock, you would know that that's where basketball lives. And be sure to follow along on YouTube, Tate's Take Sports. Subscribe to that. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mama, tell your grandmama, tell everybody. And last but certainly not least, remember that you can go and subscribe to the Tate's Take podcast anywhere you find your favorite podcast, every platform, iPhone, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Red Circle, the whole nine. You know that we don't do any of that biased stuff, everything openly opinionated, but mostly facts. So I just appreciate everybody for spreading the love and all that good stuff. And hopefully we'll have some more really, really good, interesting, informational, and educational content for you guys moving forward in regards to the sport of basketball. So keep it locked until Saturday around this time, 6 p to 7 p. Of course, that's Eastern Standard Time. I'll catch you guys in a minute. Tate's Take with DeShaun Tate for Basketball Nation.